The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Kayla B, you're on a little bit of a hot streak.
At least 2-0?
Two, maybe 3.
I think it takes 3 to get a hot streak, but we're climbing.
That's fair. Like,
let's go. That was so fun. I know it's midnight our time. I know this will air when you guys all decide to tune in. But
there's someone probably coming out of the club tonight that will be able to tune in.
This was what did you think? I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I don't want to take away from the game itself, but the build up to it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And
the atmosphere,
the first
quarter
did not let down, and then even so, the Lakers make a little bit of a late charge.
True.
Celtics stiff arm them and get to the finish line of a 111-101. I had to look up the scoreboard. Win that maybe 10 points sounds comfortable. It got a little dicey there.
It got close at the fourth, yeah.
But everything that we the people that paid $40,000 to sit courtside. I'm not saying they got their money's worth.
By the way, shout out to you. Shout out to all y'all who paid even above $20,000, $10,000.
What is the most you would pay? This is going to derail the pod, but what is the most you would pay for a ticket?
It comes down to what's the most I can afford. And let me tell you something. If it's $20,000 and plus, I ain't that far along in my career to afford anything above that. So the most I can afford is a media pass, which I'm so grateful for NBC Sports Boston for getting me.
I was thinking of selling it today to help somebody get in the building. But Jason Tatum, another 40-point night. Jaylen Brown takes on the challenge of defending Luka and goes for 30+. Jays just keep being awesome.
They were fantastic, and we talked about this in postgame, but the fact that Jason Tatum has yet to really rest and still is playing 45 minutes against really the number 2 team in the West says a lot. It speaks volumes. I mean, 40 points, the Jays combined for, 70-plus points here in this one. They had 80-plus the other night. Like, when they do it, and then Jaylen Brown having the lockdown defense against Luka, it was personal to him, and you see it, and then it shows, and this is how dominating the Celtics can be. And they did it, by the way, without Kristaps Porzingis in the mix.
Which was the biggest, maybe the most jarring part of the night, where Kristaps is out here. First off, he comes into the building.
His suit.
He's wearing the beautiful suit.
I was hyped.
This evidently 10-day illness, which we know they're kind of just probably buying him some rest too. He tried to come back one game, didn't look himself, get him some more rest. But I thought for sure he was playing tonight. And I'm sure it was not easy for him to be watching this one. But I do think the Celtics were confident, in part because they have guys like Al Horford, who continue to just turn back the clock. And I don't know, I sound like a broken record, but Al, he'll have moments during the year where you're going, maybe Father Time's catching up to him. And then he has nights like this, where he sees LeBron on the other side, where he knows the magnitude of the moment, and he's outstanding. He goes out there and he wins. Well, he almost won the Tommy Award.
He should have, in my opinion. I get Jaylen had rightfully so respect, but I was a Tommy Award for Al tonight.
A lot of deserving choices.
Yeah.
I do not envy. Scal and me were, sitting next to each other for the game, and at one point he's like, "So we give it to Al?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then Jaylen just kept making Luka turn the ball over. Like, I guess we got to give it to Jaylen. Not a bad problem to have when your players are playing like this. What do you think Al got asked at the end of the press conference, so is there something about these bigger games, or is it just coincidence? I mean, it's not coincidence, right?
No,
it's he just gets up for the matchups of this magnitude.
He said that too. And you know what was cool? So usually I sit next to you in our media section, and I was blessed, basically kicked out of the media section to go sit up high up. But it was actually a really amazing perspective, bird's eye view.
100%.
And I highly recommend, because you can.
Well, I don't know, because it's hard to get up there, which is annoying.
A couple elevators, but we got to the 9th floor. It was fine. But you know what I saw from that perspective was Al guarding LeBron. Al switched on to LeBron, and LeBron's doing his thing. There's 10 seconds on the shot clock. Al has his hands spread out, kind of hyping up the crowd. The crowd went nuts. LeBron drives it in, misses the layup. Crowd went ballistic. But that's what they get up for. The crowd gets up for it. Al gets up for it. He not only accepts, but invites that challenge. And I think when you have that kind of Al Horford mentality added to hopefully when KP gets healthy again, and then you have the starters do what they do, and bench only had 6 points, and that's because they hardly played. It was mainly the starters playing. But combine all of that together, it's a dangerous Celtics team.
What I loved about Al is I kept thinking about the Michael Jordan Last Dance meme where he's like, and I took that personally, because as soon as the Lakers started attacking him, he was like, oh, I see what's going on here. They're looking at the almost 39-year-old man and saying, we can go at him. And teams are learning the hard way that you can't, because Al is just still so good. Every now and then he'll stumble or whatever, and you're like, oh, man. But 9 times out of 10, he is stout. He is still pushing back. I tell people all the time, he, early in his career, whether it was with Atlanta or the early days with Boston, he was always so frustrated because he could never beat LeBron in the playoffs. And every time they'd run into the Cavs or later in the career, with whatever the case may be, just would always get stiff-armed. And then there was one year where the Celtics only won one game against the Cavs, but Al was so fired up afterwards because he could see that maybe things were starting to turn a little bit. And every game ever since, he is just on a different level for LeBron. One, I think he respects the hell out of him and what LeBron is doing at this age, but it also means something to go out there and beat him and to get a little bit of revenge.
He's a competitor. You said it best. You go, okay, is it a fluke? Does Al just get up for big games when he goes against guys like Jokic or even switching on to Doncic a couple of times and then LeBron? No, it's not a fluke. This guy loves to compete. I saw him at a middle school, competing against kids, and he beat the crap out of them.
I was really hoping you were going to say, like, just knocking over.
No, you would think that this guy, Al, he's so kind, and he is. But he's not letting you win. He doesn't care if you're a 7-year-old little girl in middle school or if you're LeBron James. He's going to compete.
I respect it.
It's great. I love it.
No easy buckets.
No.
None. Got to teach the children.
He was fun to watch tonight.
They've got to learn.
Teach the kids.
What was your? Let's frame it this way. What was your favorite part of tonight's game?
Favorite part of tonight's game.
Okay, I'll go first. It's Jaylen Brown. So I was just setting myself up.
Get it.
And so coming in. And Scal actually brought up a point that I hadn't considered. Because I kept thinking, I tried to put myself in Luka's shoes. What's it like? You've been traded to the Lakers. This team is having success. But you're coming back into a building where the lasting memory from the finals is Jaylen Brown just being all over you, making your life tough throughout the finals. And now, like, you're trying to prove a little bit of a point, but you got to go up against Jaylen, and this team is so deep. And Scal thought for sure that Luka was going to have a big night. And he kind of did. Like, he got a lot of the points there in the fourth quarter. I think he was at 20 for the longest time, and then all of a sudden kind of kicked it up over 30 in that fourth quarter. But Jaylen's defense at the start of this game set the tone, got the crowd into it, looked like a replay of the finals, just a different uniform now, where he was stripping Luka, going in for the easy dunks. And I just respect the hell out of what Jaylen is doing. He keeps kind of having to lobby for himself for all defense. It's going to be a long shot, although a lot of all defense guys have gotten injured, so there's like a little bit of an opening. But his desire to guard the best player on the other team, and especially Luka, maybe the best scorer in the NBA, is just I respect it so much, because most superstars just want to get their points and then go guard a guy in the corner, take it easy. He was picking him up three-quarter court, full court, whatever the case may be, and even Luka was just like, oh man,
it's like, here we go,
this guy.
He's like a bug inside your ear that's bzzz, but he loved it. I'll keep mine short, and you already set me up. It's definitely Al, just what he did here tonight. I was like such a fan of his game. Also, Jason Tatum, I mentioned it before, but the fact that he has been playing game in and game out and not talking too much about it, not bragging about it, respecting LeBron James, having all the great things to say about him coming into the TD Garden and still putting up 40 and then being the contributor from start to finish. I mean, I'm really impressed with him.
It is kind of crazy, and I sometimes remind myself when we're doing these pods. So Jason Tatum had a 40-point night, and we're like 6 minutes in, and we're like, oh yeah, and then there's Jason Tatum.
Are we taking him for granted?
We do a little bit, and I think we all do, right?
Well, that's a good sign, I guess.
Well, I think it speaks to greatness. When you do it consistently, it's easy to just kind of get lulled into, well, they're that good. You just kind of expect it. But 40-12, whatever the number was, 40-12 and 8, they shut off the score.
40-12 and 8, too shy of a triple-double.
And this is what I keep saying. This is just going to become commonplace. Every night we're going to be like, oh, he was flirted with a triple-double. But like, to do it with 40 and 12 is just so impactful. Played the first 18 minutes of the game. Didn't really seem like he wanted to come out, but got a little breather. Was right back in there at the end of the second quarter. Ends up playing 45 minutes. Was
45 plus, like a little bit beyond 45 minutes.
I think they were hopeful they could maybe squeeze him some rest in the fourth quarter, but then things got tight and they needed him out there. What a luxury that he did take that one day off against the Blazers. Shout out to the Celtics, because I keep telling people Brad Stevens' toughest job in this organization is getting these guys to take a damn day off.
I love what you said.
If Kevin Miller comes up to us and is like, hey, you guys want to? Yup.
Oh,
deuces.
yeah. Eddie's gone, Scal's gone, and hey, y'all are champs.
Scal,
we get it.
We're like screaming at each other trying to get a block off, and like, a full game that I can just chill and watch. I mean, I kind of got a night off the other night watching the Peyton Pritchard show the same night. But I have the ultimate respect for Tatum for not only what he's doing in terms of the stat line, but the desire to play, the willingness to play big minutes. And so we'll see. Like we're gonna look ahead in a minute to Utah. I just would pencil him in for 45 minutes against Oklahoma City in a couple days because another big matchup, and you're going to need a lot of Jayson Tatum.
You think, how many minutes do you think against, not OKC, Utah? Like, I'm just trying to set the tone for OKC, hoping that he doesn't play more than, like, 25?
Yeah, this is the curious part where the natural inclination would be, well, maybe try to get him to take another day off.
I would love that. I think all Celtics fans would love that, right?
I don't know what's going to happen because you think about this, a late game Saturday, I mean, not playing until Monday. It's a pretty good block of time.
Yeah.
But I wonder, I do think they'll at least approach him about it. He'll probably say no, and he'll probably be out there.
Brad's like, hey, don't worry. Like you said for this game, hey, we're going to play you for 45 minutes if you just take this off. I promise you're going to get your minutes against OKC, whatever you want. And he's like, no.
And I
respect.
The other way you could phrase it is, hey, if you guys just take care of business early in that Utah game, we can roll Peyton.
Yeah, you got a strategy.
After they didn't get a lot of minutes tonight, they could get some serious burn, and so I'll be very interested to see how that plays out. I love that we got beat LA chants. I love that Tatum got an MVP chant at the end of that game. I love the energy that was in this building. I mean, this was a different vibe. This had a playoff vibe to it. Coming into the building.
That first quarter, where they both scored the same amount of points in the first, right? Yes, I think it was like 33. Yeah. It was, right. Cheers and hats off to him. It was incredible. And the funny thing is, Chris, this is a regular season game, right? Like we're not even, there's still, 18 more games left to play of the season?
Eddie asked us how many games left, and I was
less
just
than
like,
20,
I have no idea.
We lose track at this point.
I barely know who the next opponent is. Like, I know Utah,
we take it week by week.
One day at a time
But it was incredible here. And I think for, LeBron, they're used to these kind of atmospheres and coming to Boston, but I can only imagine for some of the youngsters on that Lakers squad being like, oh, shoot. You heard CJ McCollum say it not too long ago, like, Jaylen, this is the kind of environment Boston sets. Like, this is it. And then you have Lakers versus the Celtics, the historical rivalry. You had the docu-series that just came out, which, by the way, I officially watched that first episode.
It. All right,
it is awesome. Highly recommend. Excited for the second one to come out Monday. But it was fun. And more than fun, it was like kind of a preview for what we are expected to see in, hopefully, a couple months.
That is the big question. I tried to ask Scal, but he was running towards the elevator. So let's finish on that before we look ahead. What if you had to pick? I mean, maybe we should table this for Oklahoma City because I'd like to see them up close again. But if you just had to pick right now, coming off the energy and vibes that were in this building,
who's the opponent?
I'm not even asking you like who I think the best matchup would be. Who you think is going to come out of the West? What would just be the most entertaining? Would it be the Lakers? Would it be Oklahoma City?
Lakers most entertaining.
Fair.
From my perspective, because of. It's the Lakers. I mean, it's just the most entertaining. And honestly, I don't expect them to be. I expect OKC with how they've been holding it down. SGA, et cetera. I feel like they've been so. I mean, the numbers show they've been so consistent.
Did you see that Jokic 32, 20, 20?
That's the thing too, though. Like here you go, have a guy have an NBA, history triple double. I've never seen before. No one's ever seen before. What was the numbers? It was 20, 30.
32, 20, and 20.
32, 20, and 20. Well, that's insane, unheard of. I could see Denver creeping in there. Like there you go. But I think OKC, Celtics, but most entertaining. I'd love to see what we saw here tonight.
I think you're right.
And a healthy LeBron.
That's probably how I would rank it too. I had Denver as my preseason favorite. I don't know where I'm at with that. I think they're a little bit better than what I thought at the start of the year, where their depth was a little concerned, but. Still a long way to go, and still a lot to determine. All right, here's more from our postgame show, and then we'll be back to look ahead.
The award-winning 24 Auto Group is the easy choice for your next car, truck, or SUV. 11 locations and over 2,000 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock.
Shop the brands you know and love, backed by savings and service you can count on. Plus, buy 3 and get 1 free for all tire purchases, with 11 convenient locations across the South Shore of Massachusetts.
24 has the knack to save you more. Visit us in store or online at 24autogroup.com.
Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown combining for 71 points in this one. Celtics get the win over the Lakers, 111-101. A game in which the Celtics led by 22. Lakers got all the way down to 4 late there, but the C's able to hold on. Tom Giles, Eddie House, Scal with you here on Celtics Postgame Live. Eddie, how'd you feel about Celtics and their ability to close out that game?
I mean, to win the game, I'm feeling fantastic. I'm on cloud nine. I can't wait for my drive home so I can talk. I'm going to be talking cash, money, you know what. And I know some of them Laker fans' faces as long as, a ride from here to Florida.
All right. The way I feel about this, stars showed up on the biggest night. Everyone was talking about the hype of this game, the ratings for this game, the ticket prices for this game, and Tatum and Brown really, to me, was the MVP of the game. Picking up Luka, getting downhill, and then Tatum. How easy did it look for him out there today? So, very good win. Stars delivered, and once again, it's a reminder, no matter what everyone thinks about the NBA and the playoffs and how they're going to work, it does clearly feel that the Celtics are on a different level.
It's levels to this.
There is,
that's what
for sure.
Say. It's levels to this. So, like what I was saying before the game, he was talking all that, look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Oh, LeBron, the best cutter and this and that. And LeBron's phenomenal. LeBron kept them in the game. LeBron was amazing. Luka was amazing. But when it comes down to the come down, and when the rubber meets the road, we know who the best team is. Yeah. And it is clear cut who the best team is. And all that playing the Utah Jazz and going against the Charlotte Hornets and the Blazers and putting up all them numbers and just anointing J.J. Redick as being one of the best coaches. Don't forget he got Nate McMillan over there and he got Scotty Brooks, 2 former head coaches. Let's stop. You know what? Let's talk about the Celtics and how great they was tonight.
Well, I want to get to the third quarter specifically because you're always talking about them defensively. Yes. The Lakers scored 13 points in the third quarter. They got their first field goal 6.5 minutes into the third quarter. So defensively, what did the Celtics do to the Lakers to build that 22-point lead?
I think it started with what you was talking about.
Jaylen Brown.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it wasn't one of those things where I don't think we allowed the Lakers to just move around. We were in their airspace. Even when Al Horford would get switched off to Luka Doncic, he was in their airspace. They were rotating for one another. They were contesting shots. They were defensively. That is when Eddie's doing his rant about how good we are, that's what that is. When you watch the third quarter, you're like, there's no team in the NBA that can beat this team when they play like that.
And you know what's crazy about that is because when we look at that third quarter and then the fourth quarter come around and we like what were we doing?
But one thing to mention,
it was 92-67 at the start of the third quarter.
But think about this. It wasn't one of those things where, and I only bring this up because of the fourth quarter. In the third quarter, we weren't making threes, but we were still guarding.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, we were missing threes and we stopped guarding. Yeah, but that's the MO of this team with the ups and downs. But when they're at their best and they're motivated, they are a force on both ends of the floor.
I know that we showed the 2 3-pointers that were late in the game from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown that really kind of I want to close this one out. But Jaylen Brown had a couple of really tough buckets early in that fourth quarter when you're talking about the Celtics kind of searching for things. Scal, you said he was the MVP of this game.
But we have matchup. We could go to a lot of different matchups. Anytime you see Dalton Connect, Reeves, or Luka Doncic, our star players, and they did that all night, our star players are going to go at those guys.
I like how we did it, too, because they was trying to hide Luka or they were trying to hide Austin Reeves, and we would run that pick and roll with them to when they switch. Yeah, you're going to have to switch off, and now you're going to have to guard. And we were able to take advantage of that. I thought, I don't like how we closed the fourth quarter out. I thought the fourth quarter, from the start of the fourth quarter till the end of the fourth quarter, I didn't think we played our best brand of basketball. But we were able to sustain and win that game because of what we did early.
Sure.
And, sometimes that's all it takes.
And what they did early was there was a lot of the defensive plays, a lot of the hustle plays. Scal, I know you pointed out when it comes to Jaylen Brown, we got video of some of the plays that he made early in this game, going through those. But his ability to turn the Lakers over and then get to the easy way.
Yeah, he likes going at Luka. I mean, I know Luka had a big night at 32, but Jaylen Brown was all over it. Eddie House said he's going to find another pick. Right away, third quarter, started out, picked his pocket. So Jaylen Brown was sensational too. today.
And, you know, the thing about Jaylen against Luka, I think, is most of the time Luka is stronger than everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when he creates that angle, nobody can get back in front of him. Well, Jaylen Brown has the fast enough feet to make sure he doesn't create that angle. Then on top of that, is able to stop him from creating an angle or getting an angle. And, you know, he could body up. And, you know, that's huge. Like, if you have that ability, and then also I think that Luka feel that. You know, it's certain guys in the NBA, and I'm not saying that, you know, Luka's a phenomenal player, going Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. But it's certain guys in the league that you know, like, man, it's just for some reason. I'll tell you offensively who I had a problem with, besides a lot of people, number one was Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, he's hard to guard.
It was hard to guard him.
Yeah.
And then somebody that was guarding me was Lindsey Hunter.
Yeah.
So those guys I knew for sure every single time I seen them. And it didn't matter what uniform they had on.
No.
You'd be like, ooh, here's one of them nights.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as much as Luka probably doesn't want to admit it, there's something there. There's no doubt about it. And they were trying to get Jaylen Brown off his body. So, you know, Jaylen Brown we saw it during the finals. Now, he makes the trade. The defense is good, all that, but it's the same story.
Yep.
June and now. It didn't change, even though a lot of things changed for Luka.
Joe, obviously Jaylen and Jason give you a ton offensively, but the defense, you know, individual defense, what does it mean for you guys to have them not only guard, but somebody like Jaylen be able to guard Luka kind of straight up for most of the game?
Yeah, I mean, the toll that it takes, the mental and emotional and physical toughness that it takes to do what Jaylen's able to do, and like he did tonight, is just high level by him, and Jason's ability to take pride in his individual defense. Like when your best players, and you saw the possessions that Al had, when your best players take pride in individual defense, I think it sets a tone for your team, and those guys take on that challenge, and you know, JB, you know, thrives taking on that challenge.
And you mentioned Al, they were targeting him, and he held his own against both LeBron and Luka. We keep talking about him like ageless wonder, but like what does that do for you guys? Yeah, I mean,
I think it motivates him. I think when people do it, it motivates him. And I got to watch 5 possessions of him defend at a high level. And at one point, I wasn't coaching; I was just watching him. And I was like, man, this guy's a future Hall of Famer. I get to watch this, you know, for free. And you have to be able to have that perspective. And you know, so I think he was motivated by that. And he's just an innate competitor, and it inspires our team.
Staying with Al at the other end of the floor, repeatedly was able to get Austin Reeves on switches and take advantage, get points at the rim. What did you see from him on that end?
Yeah, that was high-level execution by the guys and really team, you know, basketball. But his ability to, you know, get seals and force switches and do that was important for us, especially in that third quarter, to where we were able to get some stuff out of it playing through him and then get some stuff out of it by him drawing some 2-on-1. So just another layer of his versatility.
And then at the other end, in the third quarter, you guys held them to 13 points, forced 6 turnovers, limited the free throws and the second chance opportunities. What did you see as the keys to that overall success?
Yeah, you hit it. I mean, you have to play good offense to keep them out of transition. They got a couple leak outs, but we were able to take that away. We kept them off the free throw line. We took away their corner threes, and we were able to limit them to one shot. And so playing against a great team like that, the margins and those things are very important.
Joe, kind of back to what John said a little bit. They were trying to pick on Al and Peyton and Sam a little bit too in those one-on-one situations. What goes into building that trust as a defense to, you know, don't help over from the corner, you know, trust that they can stop? Like, and how have you seen that trust grow over this last 2 years?
I mean, it hasn't been the last 2 years. It's been really, I mean, you know, this team has always had a defensive DNA, and these guys have always been coached and taught defense by, you know, coaches before, and so it really isn't anything other than they take pride in individual defense, and when you do that, it gives you a chance every night.
Joe, I know you say every game is the same, and this had no significance, but you played Jason a season high in minutes, and you played Jaylen almost 42. It seemed like there was something extra just tonight. What did you see? Was the atmosphere different? What did you take about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I said it before. I mean, obviously it's, you know, the Celtic Lakers, and you're a part of that, and that's important. And, you know, you can't let that distract you from the things that you have to do to lead to winning. And I feel like there's moments that you give those guys chances to be able to be a part of that, and they're. Al played 37. Like everybody on this roster is, playing for a legacy, and you do it together. And I felt like that was a great moment for them to be able to compete at a high level for as long as they wanted to.
Is that kind of your way of showing them that this is not a normal game, without saying it?
It's my way of saying that you better win. I like watching them play. So.
Joe, this was a pretty physical one out there. I'm curious if that was a point of emphasis for you, and either way, how you felt like your guys worked through that physicality, because sometimes it seemed like it was frustratingly physical at times.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was obviously it's a point of emphasis, especially playing against a team like that. They're a high-level team, and you got to be physical. They're physical with us. We're physical with them. So I thought we did a really good job, especially in the start of the third quarter, and kind of after that initial run that they went on, we did a great job of maintaining our physicality, and it's important for us to continue to work through that.
About the defense, but 71 combined points, 10 assists from Jayson and Jaylen. What did you see from them offensively?
Yeah, there's been times where they've been called upon to make plays, and they both have made plays, whether it's for themselves or for others, and they're taking on that challenge, and they're doing a great job of it, getting to their spots, making the play that's necessary, and Jaylen had 2 turnovers, which is great. JT had 3, which is great, and just their ability to make plays for themselves and their teammates is important. Sometimes the game calls upon them to be great, and we need them to do it, and they both delivered.
Jaylen, you took on the challenge of guarding Luka, something that you've done before. Just what do you see in that matchup? What do you enjoy about that matchup?
Well, I mean, I usually take the matchup of the best player on every team every night. That's just what my team needs me to do. Obviously, we got a lot of talented guys on both ends, but I think my team looks for me to be able to set the tone defensively and take on those big matchups night in and night out. And
to do that and then continue to have the offensive game that you have, what does that take to be able to produce on both ends?
You got to be in incredible shape, first off. I think that pretty much sums it up. You got to be in great shape. And, we have a great team, and each and every night, it's an honor to be able to be a part of a winning group. And, I'm willing to make sacrifices on either end to get the job done. But any given night, I could be the best player on the floor on offense or defense. And my team knows that and respects that.
Jaylen, kind of sticking with that, this felt like a pretty intense and pretty physical game. I'm wondering if you went into this seeking to make it that way. And this has been a long season. I'm wondering how you're feeling after the fact, both emotionally and physically.
Yeah, I think it was a very physical game. They let it go on both ends, so you can't really complain. A couple of plays I wish I could have back. But overall, we were aggressive, and we kind of set the tone for the physicality of the game. And right now I'm just enjoying the journey. Just focusing on my body, on my health, my mind, my spirit. I'm just getting ready for the playoffs, and stuff like that, fasting, just increasing my conviction and my faith, but just getting ready for the playoffs and physically the toll it takes to do that night in and night out in the series on both ends. You got to be in incredible shape.
Jaylen, I saw an interview a little while back about you talking about rhythm and cadence on defense, and it seemed like a couple of those possessions when you switched out on Luka, or not switched out, but when you came out on Luka in isolation, your eyes lit up, you sat into your defensive position a little bit more. Are you consciously thinking, I know his rhythm, or is that just the hours and hours of studying and you're just acting on instinct?
It's a lot of both. It's definitely a lot of studying. I think Luka's one of the greats. He is one of those generational talents. So I have fun watching Luka play offensively, what he's capable of doing. Scoring the ball, his talent is offensively. His talent is next to none. So, You know, he's one of my favorite players on that side of the ball. So, you know, I spend a lot of time watching, you know, his game and things like that. So tonight I was able to make some plays, but, you know, Luka's a great player.
You talked about how excellent shape you have to be to play both ends of the court like that. In matchups like that, are you against the stars of the league, the guys you really respect? Do you try to turn it into like a psychological matchup kind of where it's a battle of wills, it's a battle of endurance, and they know that you're going to keep coming on both ends?
Night in and night out, it takes different things. Obviously, it's a journey, 82 games. Sometimes you get a matchup on a Tuesday in some random city, and like you just mentally, physically got to be prepared throughout the journey of a season, which is tough. That, you know, obviously, you know, we don't make excuses as athletes, but, you know, it takes a lot to go into that and perform at a high level. But when you get towards the playoffs, matchups, you get more detailed. You got more time to just focus on the details of whatever that matchup is or whatever that team is, and things kind of like get more intense. Throughout the season, you know, a lot of times the basketball is like, you know, teams are just either going through the motions or whatever, you know. But when the playoffs come around, and you know, it's a difference between the regular season and the playoffs.
Jaylen, what did you think of the atmosphere tonight? It just seemed like it was different. This game was seemingly more important.
Yeah, it was a great atmosphere tonight. Shout out to the Celtics fans. It felt like a playoff type intensity. Obviously, the history between the Celtics and Lakers is prevalent. So tonight, I feel like both sides, both teams came in and brought it from the jump. They started out the gate hitting shots. We matched them, hit some shots. They closed it back late. We was able to create some more separation, but it was a great energy game. Today was not one of those regular season normal games where it's whatever. Tonight was a good day for basketball.
Joe tries to say that every game has the same significance, but Jason played 45 minutes, you played 42. It seemed like even to him it was a little different.
Yeah, for sure. You know, that's his job to say that. But even, you know, like today was definitely Celtics, Lakers, you know, two big-time matchups, teams. Like, we wanted to win tonight, you know, so we did what it took to win, for sure.
The transition bounce pass to Al Horford and then the slam dunk, do you think he heard your comments about letting the other one go in the past? Was he trying to show you a little something, you think?
He did. And then I stole it in the second half. Same, almost similar play. I got the strip on the second half, and he was running so fast. And I'm like he was moving. So he was like, man, you supposed to throw the lob. I'm like, all right, somebody let me know how many lobs Al has this year.
Left in him, right?
You know what I mean? So he's telling me I should have threw the lob. I mean, you ain't got one lob all season. But he right. When Al's feeling good, we got to take advantage of that. So that's my fault. He was running the floor. He was guarding, making big-time plays. Al is a big component of our team, so it was a great game from him.
How incredible is he in these big-time matchups against other superstars, and just what does he do for this team?
Pivotal. Al is just, you know, reliable. He's just, you know, he's just the ultimate connector for us on both ends. Hits timely shots, you know, uses his intelligence, his basketball IQ to put the team into a tough spot. He took advantage of those matchups when they tried to switch him. And you know, on defense, he was battling with LeBron. He was rebounding. Like, so he's huge for us. And we just want to, you know, keep him healthy and, you know, continue to, like, just make it easy for him. So we need him ready to go in the playoffs.
All right, Kayla, up next, we go from the highs of the high to, unfortunately, and it's
180.
It's no disrespect to the Utah Jazz. It's just they're next.
It is what it is.
Like, whoever was next on the schedule was going to be not as
second
as
in the West to the bottom in the West, and that's hard. But you said it in post game, like, look, this is where the Celtics, you know, they want to finish out their homestand. They got 2 more to go, Jazz and then OKC, on a positive note.
How do you force yourself not to look ahead?
It's hard to do, but you know what? I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know how you don't focus on OKC, but these guys are professional players. Like, look, same with Utah. Like, you never know who can show up on any given night. Like, sure, after this and all the energy that those starters showed with their 40-plus minutes here tonight, it can get exhausting, and then I would expect Peyton Pritchard and maybe Sam Hauser, et cetera, to kind of have those step-up moments and get more minutes. But set the tone early. Let Jason Tatum rest. Even Jaylen Brown. Drew Holiday, I'm curious to see where his status, and Kristaps Porzingis is probably going to rest. Who knows as well. But set the tone early, get the win, and then have all the energy ready to go to finish out the homestand against OKC.
I'll sum it up like this. There was a great moment. So Drew Cotter came down. I don't know where he had been at, whatever luxury box or schmoozing he was doing. And he plopped down after the game.
Does
and we're in the afterglow of this amazing rivalry game. Celtics win against the Lakers, and we're all mad that it's not on our air, right? Like, you know, this happens at national games. At least we're here and doing our thing. And I go, well, Drew, now it's time for the big one, the Utah Jazz. And even he kind of laughed and was like, "We do have the Oklahoma City game."
Okay, yeah. By the way, Drew's a little butthurt. Drew. We talked about this before the game. He's a little butthurt. He has never called. He was getting heat from some of his coworkers. He never called the Lakers game before.
Wow.
And he's a little salty about that, and rightfully so. Drew, Drew.
And if they play him again this year, he will also.
He's
not
like,
call
I never
because
got. Like, someone really rubbed it in and goes, "Hey, have you ever called the Lakers game?" He was like, "No." Like, I saw
and thanks
defeat.
for noticing.
I saw
right?
defeat. It's okay, Drew.
I will say, Walker Kessler, 18 points, 25 rebounds.
Yeah, there you go.
Be ready for that. We will be ready for that. We're going to bring the energy. We'll be locked in. We will not be looking. I'll kind of be looking ahead, but I will be ready for Monday night.
We'll be present.
Go subscribe. Maybe Kayla will be back on the pod as like a 4-game winning streak.
Yo, we're on a 2-game winning streak.
Whatever
Trays, and if I get OKC, mic drop.
We'll get
I'll
you next
humble
time.
myself.
No, you won't. On the Celtics Talk Pod.